Hi and welcome to Hard Ass Reviews, and in this video it will be a departure from the norm because usually I talk about films. My name is Jeff Cummings, by the way, sorry, left that bit out. But today we're going back to books, and we are going to talk today about 50 Shades of Grey. Now, at the moment there seems to be a huge kind of rush for 50 Shades because of the film, but several years back there was a huge rush for the book, in fact the 3 books in the series. Now, years ago when it came out, 50 Shades, I thought to myself, well, you know, it's not really my kind of book. I kind of had an idea of what the content was, but it wasn't really my kind of book, so I thought, well, I'm not going to get it. Now, you probably think, oh well, with the fact, because I read a lot of books and I also write books, you know, so I also write and read, you know, a wide variety of books crossing, you know, loads of genres. So you would have thought, well, why is he avoiding the book? This is a popular book, so you have to give it a bit of respect. Now, I was challenged some years back, about 2 years ago. I was challenged by my ex-partner who said, well, you can't complain, you know, you don't have a right to complain unless, you know, you read it. So in other words, you know, you don't have a right to criticize unless you read it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to read it. So I went onto the Play Store and I spent my hard-earned £3.50, £3.99 for the ebook of 50 Shades of Grey, and I read the whole thing. Now let me line this up. E.L. James came up with the idea for 50 Shades of Grey because she was a huge fan of the Twilight books, and she took the same idea and created 50 Shades. Now I'm going to explain to you the plot of 50 Shades. 50 Shades, you have the main character, which is Anastasia Steele, and Anastasia Steele really is Bella Swan. So she's taken that same idea, and you have this young teenage girl of college age. I don't know, I think she's maybe around 17, 18 or whatever. And Anastasia Steele, she is put in a position where she goes and she meets this Christian Grey. Now this Christian Grey is a tycoon who you're never really sure what he actually does, what you know, what his company is and what they make or whatever, but he's extremely rich and extremely secretive. So it's kind of like she goes to actually kind of interview this guy, Christian Grey, and she goes to his head office, which is like a granite and glass kind of tower block kind of thing, and you're given the impression that she goes into this huge foyer and then up to the top floor, you know, to his office, and these plush carpets and dark wood and glass and everything, and she meets Christian Grey. Now Christian Grey, his character, you know, he's not a vampire, but you know, he's has this secret. He's a very secretive guy, and his secret is, you know, he likes to dominate. He likes to dominate in all things, whether it's in business or in the bedroom or in his relationships or anything. Now, Anastasia kind of, you know, obviously feels an attraction to him, and obviously he feels an attraction to Anastasia, and then they don't get together, but it's like their paths keep crossing. You know, she's, in some ways she's kind of not repulsed, but she's kind of repelled kind of by him, but then she's also attracted by him at the same time, and then as the book goes on they get closer and closer. Now the whole thing about this book 50 Shades is the fact that Christian Grey is a dominatrix. So, you know, he likes to, you know, dominate in the bedroom. It's all about domination. It's not about love, it's all about domination. Anastasia is a virgin. She's never had any sexual experiences before. She's going to college, and for some unknown reason she seems to be attracted to this guy and drawn to this guy, and she tries to avoid him, and she tries to keep her own independence and stay away from him, but then circumstance keeps drawing them together. He'll turn up at a flat or they'll be at the, he'll turn up she'll turn up at a mall or whatever, and then he'll be there, or things seem to be drawing them together. Now that may sound like a great scenario, which is, it's a fair scenario. It's a complete lift of the Twilight scenario. It's a complete lift. And to be honest, if I was Stephanie Meyer, I'd be rather cross with E.L. James, because really 50 Shades is just Twilight but with a load of sex. Now, that scenario that I've explained with 50 Shades is perfectly fine until you start reading the damn book. And what E.L. James tries to do is she tries to have her cake and eat it. So in other words, she likes the dark scenarios, and this whole thing of where Christian Grey says to Anastasia, right, if you wish to be involved with me, and if you wish to have a closer relationship with me, I expect you to sign a contract. Now this is part of the whole dominatrix scenario, right? Which is, you sign a contract. So he's saying, right, you want to sleep with me, you want to, be with me, you want to spend time with me, want to make love to me, you have to sign a contract. And unless you sign a contract, nothing will happen between us. So the most of this book is, a large percentage of this book is spent with this toing and froing of Anastasia, where she's contemplating whether to sign the contract, whilst she wants to maintain her independence and she doesn't want to give her whole being to this man who she's drawn to. Now this guy, whilst this is happening, is the most one-dimensional character you've ever seen you've ever read about. Now he keeps buying her things. So there's a bit where he buys her a MacBook because he doesn't like the laptop she uses, and he buys her a BlackBerry because he doesn't like the phone she uses. So the product placement by E.L. James is absolutely shameless. And to be honest, there is absolutely no romantic attraction in this book at all. In fact, there's no mention, I'm pretty sure, there's not any mention of really the word love by either of them. It's all about this domination. Now, I have to say, what really, really annoyed me about this book is how both characters were one-dimensional. 1 minute, Anastasia Steele is supposed to be this independent, young lady turning into a woman, and she wants her own career and she's got dreams, yet she is prepared to basically flip-flop around and give her life to this man who she doesn't damn well know, who is pretty bloody unpleasant, to be honest. And he's just this guy, and he's stereotypically handsome and with the blue eyes, and he flies a helicopter. And what, we're supposed to believe that a young 17, 18-year-old girl gives herself to this guy. And even though this is where I have to say I went completely off the scale with this, even though not once through the whole book does she sign this so-called contract. Now E.L. James, I'm sorry, was an idiot, because she brings the readers in, with this dominatrix scenario and saying, right, the principal character, Anastasia, has to sign this contract. Fine. Then make her sign the contract, and then you can put in as much sex as you like. But E.L. James doesn't do that. Anastasia, not once does she sign the contract. And a part of this contract would be, all the rules laid down for her time with Mr. Grey, including safe words. So they would establish what their safe word is. So when they start, having, dominant sex, obviously there's a safe word. So Anastasia can say it, and then, whatever they're doing will stop. Now, no safe word is ever established, no contract is ever signed, yet quickly the book starts getting into this absolute crap where they start having sex in stupid, you don't really realise why they're doing it or why she's putting in herself to do it, because she's supposed to be a virgin. She's never had sex before, and there's a scenario where she's in his flat, in his apartment, and they're in the jacuzzi together, and in the jacuzzi, she exercises fellatio on him. In other words, she sucks him off. To be blunt, sorry about this, viewers, but obviously I'm talking about 50 Shades, so it's gonna, it has to be pretty raw. So she sucks this guy off in the jacuzzi. Now I'm thinking, hold on a second. She's a virgin. She's never had any sexual experiences before. What the hell? Can you really, really believe that a young girl would put herself in a situation when she hasn't signed any damn contract at all? And it's been laid down at the beginning of the book that she has to sign the contract. They don't do anything. She signs the contract and she agrees to all this crap that she has to sign it. Yet they start fooling around in the jacuzzi where she sucks this guy off. And then it gets worse, where she goes into his torture chamber, or his dominatrix chamber nonsense. And there's a bit where he ties her to the bed, and there's lots of nonsense. And then towards the end of the book, we're supposed to believe that there's another sex session where he goes too far, and then Anastasia is really repulsed by this, and she kind of storms out and thinks, oh, how can I ever be with him again? How can he do this to me? How can I ever be with him or trust him? And I'm thinking, well, because you're a stupid cow and you didn't sign the damn contract and you didn't establish a safe word. Therefore, if you didn't establish signing a contract and you didn't establish a safe word, he can do what he damn well likes, because you got in the jacuzzi with him without any contract. You went into his torture chamber with him without any contract. You allowed him to tie you up without any contract. Therefore, safe words are null and void. By all accounts, the film is better than the book, because there's this awful nonsense in the book where E.L. James has this thing where she refers to it as her inner goddess. So she says something like, my inner goddess is dancing a jig. My inner goddess is standing on the bleachers waving pom-poms. Now, after time and time again being confronted by her inner goddess, I was dying for her inner goddess to pull out a shotgun, and my inner goddess has pulled out a shotgun and shot her in her head, because it was an absolute ridiculous. Because you cannot have 1 minute Anastasia being this independent, college-going woman who wants to achieve things on her own terms, then minute she's dancing around his apartment, I don't know, dancing around his apartment, sniffing the worktops, wanting to commit herself to a man with no damn contract. She doesn't know what he's going to do to her. He could be a killer, and this is she kind of thinks about that. She doesn't know this guy. She doesn't know what he's going to do. Yet we're supposed to believe that she goes to his place, and time again she goes to his place and gets into these sexual, scenarios with him. And then her inner goddess is dancing a jig. Her inner goddess is an idiot, because her inner goddess, I would like to know what her inner goddess would have done if he'd have tied her to the bed, tied something round her neck and throttled her. So I don't know what you'll think out there, whether you've read it, whether you've read the book and also seen the film, but I'd love to know your comments. I would love to know your comments, so leave your comments. And please subscribe to the channel. Hard Ass Reviews is an up-and-coming channel. I think it's an exciting channel. And we'll be doing loads more videos on lots of exciting things, books and film. So this is brought to you by GC Media, which is my my site, my website, which is gcmedia68.wordpress.com. And if you go on there, you can read lots of my creative writings, plus lots of news and social comment, which is my thing. Lots of news and social comment, and you can read some of my stuff as well. And if you think it stinks in the same way as E.L. James, then feel free to leave a comment for that. You can find me on Facebook. That's Jeff Cummings on Facebook. You can also find me on Twitter, which is author68jeff. That's for Twitter. And as I said, leave comments below, please, and subscribe to my channel, and I will speak to you all very, very soon. And if you do go and see the film and you enjoy it, then fair enough. This is only my opinion, Take care of yourself, everybody.